Hey, this is the World of Ice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the topic of how to not feel insecure. So when it comes to the topic of how to not feel insecure, especially if you've been a victim of abuse, you've been around toxic people who like to put you down, and say you're the world's biggest loser, or things like 99% of the world is doing better than you, yada yada yada, you get the point, you know. What I'm gonna tell you is in a simple and straightforward way, how to not feel insecure. If you've been a victim of that, or just in general, for whatever reason, you have massive insecurity problems, whether you're a victim of being spoken down to by other people or not. Okay. So now that I mentioned that, let's get started. So, when it comes to the topic of how to not be a victim of abuse, it's actually, or I should say, a victim of believing that you're less than other people, in other words, being insecure. The best way to do it is to make a comparison, okay? And that is the best way to do it, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, comparison is the best way to avoid being insecure. Because when you make a comparison, you will quickly realize there are so many people in the world, even some of these people being so-called highly, educated, intelligent, high achievers, whatever you can imagine, who do things that I know if you're someone who's insecure, you would never do, okay? And that is exactly what I'm trying to get at here, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, okay, when it comes to the world, especially with the internet now, it is so easy to find people who do things that you would never do. And not even just that. It just in general on an everyday to day basis, if you're someone who's actually trying in life and you're not someone who's fucking around in life for that matter, like you actually have been through a lot. Maybe you've been through a special ed class, so, in other words, you're a high functioning special ed kid who experienced a lot of trauma because you were in a special ed class or this and that. You've experienced a lot of pain and suffering for that matter, to put it bluntly. The truth of the matter is, to be quite honest with you, okay, if you're a person who's ever experienced those type of things for that matter, okay, the truth is it's actually easy for you to actually, since you've been through so much trauma, people have criticized you so much, to make sure that you do everything perfectly. And when you actually do everything perfectly, you notice how many people in the world do stupid shit. Whether it could be people, walking around with their smartphone in their pocket, their back pocket, to be honest with you, or leaving their belongings like their purse and their smartphone on the table, to be quite honest with you, or walking across the street while looking at their smartphone. A bunch of people do that, or leaving their doors unlocked and stuff, or doing hard drugs like cocaine, heroin, and all that stuff that just screws your life up. You will be surprised, okay, for all those things I mentioned. In one of them or another of them, like both of them or more, how many people in the world do, okay? And this is one of the best ways to overcome insecurity, okay? Is to realize that there are so many things, if you are at least trying in life, that so many people do, that I can guarantee you that if you are at least being serious, you do not do. Okay. Or, or let alone you don't even have the ability to afford to be that. Because if people see you do the smallest thing, people are going to call you out on it. And that's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, for that matter, okay? And that's the truth of the matter when it comes to overcoming insecurity, is to realize, just look at all the things other people do and look at the things you do, which is not what they do, and look at it and say, you know what, I'm actually not the world's biggest loser, for that matter. And that's exactly the way I look at it, or at least one of the world's biggest losers, okay? And that's what I'm trying to get across here. Okay, because the truth of the matter is, in life, what I've noticed is that there's something I refer to in life, okay? Because even though there's no perfect way to be completely free of insecurity, there's definitely a way, what I refer to as something known as an average, okay? An average level of realizing you're at least an average level of abilities, okay? Whether it's average intellect, like when it comes to problem solving, average degree of safety precautions, like making sure that you obviously keep your smartphone inside your pocket and this and that, and even just average level of of just maybe willpower, whatever. You get the point, okay? just overall capabilities to answer your question, okay? There's something known as an average, okay? And there's people who are below average, okay? That's the truth of the matter, okay? So there's something known as averages, okay? And if you're someone in life who can at least speak clearly and coherently, then you're probably average, okay? And that's the truth of the matter, okay? Because the truth of the matter is if you don't do these things, what I just mentioned just now, okay, to put it bluntly, okay, you definitely, I can guarantee you, are at least average. I don't know if you're above average, if you decide to take up any skill or something, but you're definitely at least average in terms of your abilities of what you can accomplish in life. Whether you want to take up a skill in your future for because it's something you're passionate about, or for money, or maybe both, whatever, you get the point, okay? Whatever you want to achieve in life, you at least are on an average level to other people. So you're not less than other people. And that's the honest truth of the matter, okay? So that's the best way to overcome that theory, okay? Because there's so many things so-called normal people do, and we're not talking about like 10, 20%. We're talking about 40 or maybe even above percent that I know if you're a real one, okay? And most people I've noticed who tends to be the realest motherfuckers are the ones who don't have the most amount of friends, okay? And the truth of the matter is if you're a real one, I can guarantee you, you will not do the things most people do. And even the things that they say when they're in the heat of the moment, you know? If you're someone who's at least trying in life, okay? And that's the best way to not feel insecure, is to look at the things other people do and make a comparison, okay? And that's the truth of the matter. Now, of course, the quite obvious question that's going to come up, especially if enough people watch this video, people are going to bring up, isn't that kind of unnecessary to do? Isn't that kind of judgmental and hurtful? Well, to answer your question, this is reality, man. This is something that people need to understand about life, okay? In life, you have to do what you need to do to survive, okay? Because I'm gonna keep it real for y'all. From what I have heard, and I'm not gonna go too much into detail about it for obvious reasons, you know, because, you know, because they can get quite disturbing. But from what I have heard about people who are insecure, and especially in this day and age when we can go online and see people who are doing so great and so amazing in life, is that the things that happen to them, whether it comes down to how they feel emotionally and even just simply experiences they have, are not even worth mentioning, okay? The things that happen to some of those people, okay? They're just not happy. They're very, very, very unhappy people. Okay, these are people who sometimes can't even sleep properly. These are people, who sometimes get into all sorts of bad things because they want to prove themselves, whether it's shoplifting or even cutting themselves to prove how strong they are. They sometimes attempt suicide. Like these are, and they have a hard time fitting in, and they have the most awkward situations when they're trying to make friends. Like these are very, very, very unhappy people, to answer your question in all honesty. Like it's not even like funny or something you can, like funny or anything, like if it ever was. Like it's just depressing. Like they're very, very, very unhappy people. And I just feel like sometimes in life, especially in this case for certain, like you have to do what is necessary to kind of make sure that you are able to live the best life you can live, okay? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be insecure, especially in this day and age where we can look online and see how great so many people in the world are doing, and then you have those people who are around you who sometimes like to drag you down with them, who you don't even notice it until later on in life. You realize they were not really a friend; they were trying to fuck you over, or even just negative people like to bully you. The things that I see and have heard happen to people who are insecure is not even worth mentioning. And that's not even getting a part about the ideologies that they start getting into, like humans suck and humans are evil and all sorts of things that just make them even unhappier. And it's not good. It's not good. It's not something I even think is worth mentioning, to be quite blunt and honest with you. Okay, the things that happen to those people because they're lost and they're miserable, and the mental health system is terrible. So if you can do something that can prevent you from going down that path, then I would definitely say you should take it, okay? And that's what I'm trying to get across here, okay? And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. That's why when I hear the stuff, I hear people say, I would imagine people might say, oh, why do you want to judge other people, and talk about, this and that, or like, oh, I'm doing better than you because I never did this or that. In the end of the day, this is about your survival and about your own personal happiness. Because I'm going to keep it real, dog. If the things that I hear about happen to people who are not uh, you know, who are not happy because they're insecure is not even worth mentioning in some cases. And some of them just end up fucking just straight up hating themselves. And that is not something you or anyone in the world wants to go through. So that is the honest truth of the matter. So take my advice I said for this video. You can even write it down, the information I gave, and keep it in your head. Because trust me, you do not want to feel insecure. And that is all I have to say for this video. And simply put it, I hope you enjoyed it. And just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs video up and hit the subscribe button. And just remember, if you think you are the world's biggest loser or one of the world's biggest losers, just remember there's someone in the world who's done way worse things than you've ever done. And that's the truth of the matter. So, and that's all to say, and I'm out. So bye.